Hi, I'm going to walk you through the process of taking your downloaded copy of SlideDeck Lite and integrating it into your own web page. Once you've downloaded SlideDeck, you should end up with an archive file just like this. It's going to be a zip file. So open it up and you should see some interesting contents. Here we have a folder, SlideDeck Lite itself. We've got the WordPress plugin for SlideDeck Lite and then an install text file. Let's take the SlideDeck Lite folder, move it to your desktop or similar workspace. Once you've gotten it here, we're ready to move on and start looking at the files and what makes them work. When I open up the folder, I see a couple images, an example HTML file, a copy of jQuery, a copy of SlideDeck, as well as a compressed version. It's a lot smaller. And then we have some CSS files. That's all there is to SlideDeck. It's just an HTML file powered by a JavaScript file, styled by a CSS file. There's no magic happening here. It's just really clever use of HTML. Let's open up the example file and I'll walk you through what each line of code does. Here I've opened it up in Notepad++. It's a really lightweight text editor, it's free, and it's really fast. So, this is a standard HTML file with a doc type declaration. It's pretty important. Then we've got our HTML tag, our head tag. In the head tag, first we have a copy of jQuery. Up next we have a link tag. This link is the style sheet for SlideDeck. It references slidedeck.skin.css, which is this file right here. Following, we have a conditional comment for evil Internet Explorer. We don't like Internet Explorer, but we have to work around it. So we're using a conditional comment right here to load the Internet Explorer specific style sheet, skin.ie.css. So, we've got jQuery, we've got style sheets, but what actually makes the SlideDeck work? That's this line of code right here. It references slidedeck.jquery.lite.pack.js. We're using the packed version of the script because it's smaller. That means it'll load a lot faster for your visitors. Below that, we've got a SlideDeck frame. This is used to house the SlideDeck and apply the skin CSS to it. It's sort of a convenient way to position your SlideDeck and style it, but it's actually not necessary. Maybe we'll get to that later, but for now, it's always good to keep your SlideDeck in a div. Then we have the SlideDeck. We're using a DL element here because it suits our purposes pretty well. Each slide has a title, and each slide has content. I'm going to indent this just so we can see a little bit better what it means. We have a DT followed by a DD. So the DD is our slide content. And then the DT is our slide spine. Just imagine that element twisted sideways as one of the spines of the SlideDeck. So currently this SlideDeck has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slides. And this is the only HTML required to make your SlideDeck. All this HTML and all this CSS doesn't do anything unless we instantiate our SlideDeck. And that's where this little script tag comes in. We put the script tag after the SlideDeck frame because as the document loads line by line, the script tag needs to know about the SlideDeck frame that is loaded before it. So make sure to always put your script tag after your SlideDeck frame. In here, we're simply using the $ selector for jQuery, and we're asking for any element with a class of SlideDeck, and then we're running the SlideDeck command on it. That's all there is to it. So, if we look in our document for elements with a class of SlideDeck, currently we have one, right here, the DL element. So the DL element has a class of SlideDeck, and when this command is run, a SlideDeck is created out of that element using the markup as the structure and content for the deck. Up next, we're going to integrate SlideDeck into a standard HTML file. We're going to start from scratch with nothing in the file and then get to the point where we actually have a SlideDeck. I'm going to start by opening up the My Site folder. It's got a JavaScript folder that's empty, a Style Sheets folder that's empty, and an index.html file. If we open up that index.html file, we can see that it's just a title and some lipsum. What I'd like to do is I'd like to put the SlideDeck in between these two paragraphs. Let's minimize this. Let's go back to our site folder and open up SlideDeck Lite. We've already got this file open, but I'm going to open up the example file as well, just so we can jump back and forth between them. So I've got example and my index file. Now, we're going to need some files from the SlideDeck Lite folder. Let's take the spines, slides, corner, back, and these two CSS files. And let's copy them over to my style sheets directory. We're also going to need the SlideDeck jQuery Lite pack file. We're going to take that, and we're going to copy it over. So we're going to move this into our JavaScript folder, where it should be, and then we've got our index file. That's all we've got to do in terms of moving files around. So let's move on to the next stage, where we actually start copying HTML from our example file into our index file. Let's start by taking the scripts and the styles. This is a really logical place to start because those are the files we just copied. So let's copy our script, link, conditional comment for IE, script tag, and our style tag. And let's just put them within the head tag of our new file. Just paste those in. Now, this actually isn't going to work the way it's set up because we don't have our scripts file in the same place as the example. In the example, the script files are right next to the example.html file. But in our example, they're in a JavaScript folder. So, we have to modify these paths a little bit. The source of jQuery. Actually, did I even copy jQuery? I did not. I forgot about that. So I just need to copy jQuery over to this folder. So jQuery is in there as well. This is in my side. So the path of jQuery is now in JavaScripts/jQuery. I'm just going to copy this part. And the path of our SlideDeck.jQuery.Lite.pack is also in JavaScripts. I'm going to save the file. That should be fine. Now I'm going to copy over the HTML, sorry, not the HTML file, the style sheet files. The style sheet files are already copied over. We've got the skin.ie, skin.css, and again, in the standard SlideDeck distribution, these are right next to the example file. So we're going to have to adjust the path for those as well. Adjust the path for your SlideDeck skin. Let's see, it's in style sheets. So we go to style sheets /SlideDeck.skin.css and we take the same path. Do not forget to copy the IE style sheet as well. Because it's in a comment, you can sometimes forget that it's there until one of your IE users phones you and says your site doesn't work. So let's just put that there. I'm going to save the file. Now that I've linked my script tags and my style sheet tags and they're properly pathed, I can actually copy my SlideDeck HTML in. I'm going to take this div containing the SlideDeck and I'm just going to paste it into my file. Earlier I said that I wanted it in between my two paragraphs, so that's where I'm going to put it. Once I paste the HTML in there, that's all that's needed. You can add whatever content you want to these slides and it'll come out in your SlideDeck. Then I need to take these script tags and copy them in. I'm going to put it right after my SlideDeck frame. It's really important that it goes after and not before. When I save my file, go back to Firefox, we can see that we now have a SlideDeck. That's all there is to it.